The snow never seemed to stop. It drifted down in slow, hypnotic layers, thick as ash, muting every sound until the whole mountain felt like a dream. The cabin was an island in an endless white sea, half buried in drifts that reached the window panes. Inside, the fire snapped weakly, barely cutting through the chill that crept in through the logs. Evan crouched near the hearth, feeding another log into the flames. The light flickered over his face, sharp and tense. "We should have gone to Aspen like normal people," he muttered, rubbing his hands together. His breath fogged in the air. At least there, civilization's still a thing. Maya, sitting cross-legged on a rug, smirked at him. "Oh, come on. This place is perfect. No people, no noise, just us and nature." Her dark hair gleamed like black glass in the firelight. Tom leaned on the window frame, squinting into the blur beyond. He could see nothing but swirling white. His reflection floated faintly in the glass, a ghost among ghosts. Yeah, and no cell signal, no power half the time, and probably bears outside waiting to eat us. Real vacation vibes. "Stop whining," Jenna said. She lounged on the couch, wrapped in a blanket, sipping whiskey straight from the bottle. "You guys are such babies. We wanted to get away, remember? No screens, no noise, no deadlines. We got exactly what we wanted." Evan gave her a look. "You call freezing to death a win?" Before Jenna could answer, a deep, hollow thud came from outside. It wasn't loud, but in the stillness, it hit like a gunshot. The four froze. The fire crackled. Maya's eyes darted to the door. "Probably snow off the roof," she said quickly, but her voice wavered at the edges. Evan stood, pulling on his coat. "I'll check. Better that than letting the roof cave in." Tom reached for his arm. "Man, don't." But Evan was already unbolting the door. A rush of icy wind burst through the gap, howling through the cabin like a scream. The flames guttered. He stepped out, flashlight slicing through the white curtain of snow. For a moment, everything disappeared in the storm. The others could only hear the crunch of his boots and the moan of wind. Then his voice came, muffled but steady. "Nothing. Wait, hold up." Maya edged closer. "Evan, guys," he called softly. "Come here. You need to see this." They bundled up quickly and stepped outside, each breath crystallizing in the air. The cold bit at their cheeks. The snow reflected the flashlight beams so fiercely, it hurt to look. Evan was crouched near the side of the cabin, pointing. The beam shook slightly in his hand. Tracks. Not boots, not paws. Something between the two. Long, sharp impressions, with deep gouges at the end, like claws had dragged through the powder. The prints were far apart, as though made by something running on two legs. "Jesus," Tom whispered. "What the hell made those?" "Maybe a bear," Maya offered, but her tone lacked conviction. "No bear walks like that," Evan said. His breath came fast, white clouds in the dark. And look, it circled the cabin, then just stopped. He followed the trail with the beam, watching as the prints curved around the far side of the house and vanished toward the trees. The forest loomed there, black trunks shifting behind the snow like shadows alive. A low sound carried from somewhere deep in the woods. Not quite a growl, not quite a moan. It was long, drawn out, and wrong. Maya grabbed Evan's arm. "We're going inside, now." They didn't argue. The wind rose, whistling through the cracks of the roof as they slammed the door and bolted it. For a while, no one spoke. The fire spat and hissed, but the warmth felt smaller now, fragile. Jenna forced a laugh. "Okay, we're officially not doing scary stories tonight. Deal?" Tom didn't respond. He sat near the window again, staring into the storm. Every time the wind died, he swore he heard faint scratching, like something dragging a stick across the walls. By midnight, the storm hit full force. The wind screamed around the cabin, pushing snow hard enough that the windows trembled in their frames. The fire was dying low, when the generator outside coughed and went out. The sudden silence was worse than the noise. Darkness folded over them. Perfect, Evan muttered. Now we're living by candlelight. Tom groped through the dark until his hand found the lantern. He clicked it on, and a weak yellow glow spread across the room. "One battery left," he said. "After that, we're out." Maya shivered. "Where's Evan?" He wasn't by the fire anymore. His jacket was gone from the hook. "Maybe he went to fix the generator," Jenna said, standing up, though her voice shook slightly. "He's probably fine." Tom's frown deepened. He wouldn't go out without saying anything. They searched the small cabin, the bathroom, the bunks, even under the table. But the back door was cracked open, snow blown in across the floorboards. "Evan!" Maya called into the night. Only the wind replied, sharp and cold. Tom zipped his coat. "We can't just sit here. Are you insane?" Jenna hissed. "It's a blizzard." "Exactly. If he's out there, he won't last long." Maya hesitated, then grabbed a flashlight. "Let's go. Just for a minute." The cold was immediate, brutal. Snow stung their faces as they trudged through knee-deep drifts, their breaths lost in the gale. The light flickered over the landscape, a blur of white and black, where trees twisted like old bones. Then Maya pointed. "There, the generator." It sat half buried under snow, metal glinting dully. But as they approached, Tom's stomach dropped. The machine was torn open, cables dangling, frame bent inward as if crushed by something impossibly strong. And beside it, fresh tracks, the same clawed prints from before. Jenna crouched. "They just end here." Tom moved the light slowly. "No," he whispered. "They go down. Like it went under." A sound came from behind them. Soft, wet, dragging. They turned. At the edge of the trees stood a figure. Tall, hunched. Its outline barely visible through the swirling snow. Its limbs were too long, joints bent wrong, skin pale against the dark, and its eyes, faintly, horribly, glowed blue. "Run!" Tom said. The thing screamed, a metallic tearing sound that cut through the storm. They sprinted toward the cabin, slipping and stumbling. Maya fell, her knees scraping ice. Jenna yanked her up, shouting something lost in the wind. The thing crashed through the snow behind them. Fast, so fast. They reached the door. Tom shoved them inside and slammed it shut, throwing the bolt just as something massive hit the wall from outside. The whole cabin shook. Then just as quickly as it began, everything went silent. The fire flickered low. Their breaths came in ragged bursts. No one said a word. The only sound left was the faint distant groan of the mountain. And something moving maybe, far beneath the snow. The cabin was silent, except for the moaning wind outside, and the creak of the walls shifting in the cold. The air felt thick, heavy, like the storm had forced its way inside. Tom sat with his back to the door, gripping the poker in his hands as though it were a weapon. Jenna was pacing, her face pale and wild. Maya sat on the floor by the fire, clutching her injured leg. Every few minutes she flinched, looking toward the door as if she expected it to burst open again. "It had his face," she whispered. "It looked like Evan, the way it moved. Those eyes." Tom's voice was low but firm. "That wasn't him. Whatever that thing is, it took him. Or used him." Jenna stopped pacing. We have to leave. As soon as it gets light, we head down the mountain. I don't care about the storm. The hours dragged. The fire died to embers, and the lantern's glow grew dim. Sometimes they heard scratching, slow, careful, circling the walls, then fading again. None of them dared to look outside. When the first grey light crept across the windows, they gathered what they could. Maya wrapped her leg with a strip of cloth, her hand shaking. Tom pushed the door. It was frozen shut, snow pressed up against it. He leaned into it with his shoulder until it groaned and gave way. The morning was a flat sheet of silver. The storm had stopped, but the world looked dead. Nothing moved, no sound, no color but white. Tom stepped out first, scanning the tree line. The footprints from last night had already half filled with new snow, but fresh tracks trailed away from the cabin toward the ridge. "Evan," Maya said softly, as if saying his name might bring him back. Tom pointed. "There, metal, maybe his jacket zipper." They trudged through the snow, boots sinking deep with every step. The air was still so cold it hurt to breathe. As they moved farther from the cabin, the silence grew oppressive. Even their footsteps sounded muffled, swallowed by the snow. When they reached the ridge, Tom's stomach turned. Evan's parka lay half buried under ice, torn almost in two. The inside was stiff and dark with frozen blood. Maya knelt beside it. "He can't be." She reached for the fabric. The snow beneath it shifted. Tom's hand shot out. "Don't!" A pale hand burst from the drift, clawed and grey, grabbing his ankle. He shouted, kicking hard until it let go. Then the face rose. Evan's face, blue and frostbitten, skin cracked like thin glass. His eyes glowed faintly, the same unnatural light they had seen in the trees. "Help!" The sound came from his throat, but it wasn't his voice. It was a mechanical scraping, something imitating human speech without knowing how. Jenna screamed. Maya fired the flare gun. The red light exploded across the snow, igniting Evan's frozen coat. The thing shrieked, twisting, black smoke curling from its skin. It stumbled backward, then dropped into the snow, vanishing beneath it like it had never been there. They ran. By the time they reached the cabin, Maya could hardly breathe. Her hands were bleeding from the cold, and Jenna's tears had frozen on her cheeks. Tom slammed the door behind them and locked it. "That wasn't Evan anymore," Jenna said, voice trembling. "That thing was wearing him." Maya's eyes were glassy. "It mimics us. It learned him." Tom looked out the window. Beneath the snow, the surface rippled, slow and wide, like something enormous was moving just under the crust. He stepped back. "It's underneath us." A loud creak came from the floorboards. Then a deep, muffled thud. "The basement?" Jenna's voice dropped to a whisper. "It's coming up from the basement." Tom moved toward the kitchen, where the old trapdoor lay half hidden beneath a rug. The air was colder there, and he could smell something faint, wet metal, like rust and blood. He crouched down, listening. The sound came again, a dragging scrape, closer this time. Maya limped toward him. "Don't open it." He didn't have to. The wood started to splinter. Something slammed against the underside of the door. Once, twice. Each hit harder than before. "Back up!" Tom shouted. The trapdoor burst open. A clawed hand shot through the floor, black veins of ice spreading from its touch. Jenna grabbed a knife from the counter. Tom swung the poker, smashing the hand until it withdrew. But another followed, grabbing the edge and pulling hard. The creature surged up into the room, tall, twisted, and horribly thin. Its skin pale and stretched like wax paper. Steam rose off it in waves. Its face flickered, rippling like a reflection on water, and for an instant, it wore Evan's features. Then they melted away into something older, boneless, hungry. Maya screamed. She threw the lantern. It shattered, fire spilling across the wood. The thing shrieked, retreating for a moment from the flames, then lunged forward again, swinging its arm and sending Tom crashing into the wall. Jenna stabbed it. The blade sank into its shoulder, but no blood came out, only a hiss, like air escaping. The creature twisted its head toward her, bones cracking as it did. "Cold," it whispered in that hollow, broken voice. "So cold." She stumbled back, kicking over a burning log from the fireplace. Flames licked up the creature's legs. It screamed again, thrashing, the sound so sharp it made their ears ring. Tom grabbed Maya, dragging her toward the door. "Go, now!" The three of them burst into the storm, half blind from the smoke and snow. Behind them, the cabin burned bright against the grey sky, the creature writhing in the firelight, like a shadow trying to escape its own body. They didn't stop running until they reached the tree line. Maya collapsed, sobbing. Jenna fell beside her, gasping for air. Tom turned back. The cabin was gone now, just smoke rising through the snow. By the time they made it down the mountain, the sun had set again. The ranger station lights glowed faintly through the trees. When the door opened, a middle-aged man in a parka stared at them like he was seeing ghosts. "My God," he said. "What happened to you people?" Tom's voice was hoarse. "Something up there, in the snow. It's alive." The ranger guided them inside, wrapping them in blankets. He radioed for help, but they were barely coherent. Tom kept repeating the same words. "It's under the snow. It never left." 2 days later, a rescue team went up to the site. They found what was left of the cabin: charred, melted wood, and a blackened hole where the basement had been. In the snow around it, there were footprints. Not 4 sets, but 5. The 5th set was larger, heavier, the steps deep and uneven. They followed them for nearly a mile before the tracks simply ended. The snow around them was strangely melted, as if something hot had crawled away through the ice. That night, one of the rangers woke in his bed to a sound. A slow rhythmic knocking on the window. He thought it was a tree branch until he heard breathing. When he looked up, he saw a figure standing just outside, motionless in the snow. It looked like Evan. The face was calm, almost smiling, but its eyes glowed faintly blue, cold, distant, and very much awake.
Please like and subscribe channel Fear Frequency for more horror stories. Thank you.